So, it's been about a year since the first season of Solo Leveling aired. You might be thinking, I remember everything from Season 1, I don't need a recap. But trust me, after watching this video, you might feel differently. I've covered everything you need to know to dive into Season 2 in this video. A few years ago, gates started appearing all over the world, and they brought two major changes. First, these gates were connected to dungeons from another world filled with magical creatures. These gates were ranked based on their power and danger levels, from S rank, the most dangerous, to E rank, the least threatening. Second, some people gained magical powers when these gates appeared. Basically, mana, this magical energy, spread across the world. The people who inherited these powers were ranked based on their mana, strength, and skills, with S being the strongest and E the weakest. These individuals were called hunters. Why hunters? Because human weapons and military tools didn't work on the magical creatures inside the dungeons. So, humanity's hope rested on those with magical powers. But why were hunters entering dungeons, or as some call them, black holes? And why do these gates even stay open? Like I mentioned, the gates act like portals that connect our world to another. But here's the twist. These portals are two-way. Magical creatures can also enter the human world through these gates. But here's the important part. For the first 7 days after a gate appears, only humans can go in and out. If the gate isn't closed within those 7 days, magical creatures can come out, wreaking havoc on people and cities. Because of this, guilds were formed, groups of powerful hunters that act as teams to close these gates. Of course, there are also solo hunters who don't belong to any guild and work independently. So, how do you close a gate? Every dungeon has a boss, and once the boss is defeated, the gate disappears within an hour. Another key point is that dungeons are filled with magical items that are incredibly valuable. These items can be used for energy production, healing diseases, and even crafting weapons. So, group raids on dungeons are not just about closing them, they're also about collecting these magical items. This is why various hunter guilds have popped up in every country, and the more high-ranking hunters they have, the more income they can generate. One last thing. Gates are ranked based on the amount of magical energy they emit, not their size. So, Jin-Woo had to cover his mom's medical expenses and his sister's school fees after his mom fell into an eternal sleep. But given his physical condition, he wasn't doing so well, until it turned out he could work as a hunter. The catch? He was only an E-rank hunter. Jin-Woo was so weak that everyone called him the world's weakest hunter. Another funny thing was that whenever other hunters saw Jin-Woo on their team, they immediately knew the dungeon they were about to enter was low level. Why? Because Jin-Woo would only get assigned to the least dangerous dungeons. One time, after entering a dungeon and defeating some weak monsters, the team discovered a hidden gate inside. When they went through it, they found themselves in a temple called the Temple of Kartanon. The weird part? There were no magical creatures inside. Instead, there were massive statues in the temple that would kill anyone who tried to escape, got too close to them, or broke the rules. Out of everyone in the dungeon, Jin-Woo was the only one who figured out the temple's rules and message. In the end, he sacrificed himself to save a lot of people. But Jin-Woo got a second chance. He was chosen by the system to become its player. Now, there are two other things worth mentioning. First, some hunters experience a second awakening. For example, a hunter might start with C-rank magical power, but after a major event or accident, they awaken again, boosting their rank to A or even S. Second, there are hunters with false ranks. These people can control the amount of mana they release, making it seem like they're lower ranked than they actually are. But here's the creepy part. They usually have some serious mental issues and enjoy hunting other hunters or even killing people. So, how do they not get caught? One key rule of dungeons is that once you kill the boss, the gate closes immediately. That means no one else can enter to investigate. And there's this unspoken rule. What happens in the dungeon stays in the dungeon. After Jin-Woo was chosen as a player, he realized he could level up. This was a big deal because, for regular hunters, once they gain magical powers and their rank is determined, it doesn't change. The only way they can grow stronger is by using magical tools or relying on their team. Basically, if someone starts as a B rank, they stay that way unless they experience a second awakening. But Jin-Woo, thanks to the power granted by the system, could level up by completing various quests. He was given 5 key stats to improve: stamina, strength, intelligence, agility, and perception. By earning points from daily tasks, side quests, or other missions, Jin-Woo could boost any of these skills. However, skipping his daily tasks came with penalties. Some rewards from the system included special keys that opened dungeon gates. What's unique about these dungeons is that only Jin-Woo can see and enter them. Even more interesting, he can't leave the dungeon until he completes the assigned quest, unless he uses a teleportation stone. Using the key the system gave him, Jin-Woo entered a dungeon. After fighting off some wolves and goblins, he eventually took down the dungeon boss, a massive snake. After this, Jin-Woo joined a hunter party to earn more money by entering a C-rank dungeon. However, this group had a shady reputation. They would always bring along 2 weaker hunters into C-rank dungeons, only to kill them inside and take all the loot without anyone finding out. But this time, Jin-Woo turned the tables on them. The system gave him a quest to eliminate those 6 hunters since they were planning to kill him too. In the end, Jin-Woo wiped them out and left the dungeon with Jin-Ho. Now, 2 key points. Dong-Suk has a brother who's an S-rank hunter and is out for revenge against Jin-Woo and Jin-Ho. Jin-Ho knows Jin-Woo is an incredibly strong hunter who took down those 6 hunters all by himself, but he promised to keep Jin-Woo's secret. One more thing. Jin-Ho comes from a wealthy family, and his father plans to establish a new hunter guild. Jin-Ho's brother is supposed to become the guild's vice leader, while an S-rank hunter will be the leader. Since Jin-Ho himself doesn't have magical powers, he can't officially lead a guild, but in reality, his brother is expected to take charge behind the scenes. On the other hand, Jin-Ho also wants to become the leader of this guild. To prove he's qualified, he needs to successfully clear 20 C-rank dungeons. In exchange for this, Jin-Ho's father offered him a building worth 30 billion won that was set aside for the guild. At first, Jin-Woo refused because he knew he was the only hunter who could level up, so it wasn't worth his time. But after something happened, which I'll explain later, Jin-Woo agreed on one condition. Only he and Jin-Ho would enter the dungeons. While 6 others would be hired, they wouldn't actually go inside. This way, Jin-Woo could level up faster. Now, why did Jin-Woo change his mind and accept Jin-Ho's offer? As a reward from the system, Jin-Woo received a key called the Devil's Castle Key. This dungeon was S-rank in difficulty, but the key detail about the Devil's Castle was that everything needed to make the elixir of life could be found there, a potion that could cure Jin-Woo's mother. Jin-Woo opened the gate, but the first creature he faced was the castle's guardian, Cerberus. The fight pushed him to the brink of defeat. Even though Jin-Woo eventually defeated Cerberus and obtained the recipe for the elixir of life, he realized his level was still way too low to clear the Devil's Castle alone. That's why he decided to accept Jin-Ho's offer. Another key event from Season 1 was Jin-Woo being summoned for a D-rank dungeon raid, where he reunited with his old teammates, the ones whose lives he had saved. But here's the twist. 3 criminal hunters were also part of this raid. In this world, criminals could reduce their sentences by joining dungeon raids. The reason? There weren't enough hunters around, and most didn't want to bother with low-level dungeons anyway. After entering the dungeon, it was revealed that Kanchik, as a hunter, was assigned to kill these 3 criminals because of their past crimes, including assault. They were trying to avoid punishment, but Kanchik was actually one of those hunters with a fake rank, keeping his level low on purpose so no one would suspect him. In the end, Jin-Woo managed to defeat Kanchik. After this battle, as a reward, the system granted Jin-Woo the skill Stealth, which allowed him to stay hidden from others. His scent and sound couldn't be detected. After clearing a few more dungeons with Jin-Ho, Jin-Woo became eligible for a job change mission, so he decided to accept the mission. However, one of the executives from the White Tiger Guild noticed Jin-Woo's power and tried to make contact with him. He offered Jin-Woo a job, but Jin-Woo refused. Using his stealth skill, he was able to sneak past the executive and figure out how he had detected Jin-Woo's power. In the end, since Jin-Woo was about to go on his job change mission, they had to cancel 3 dungeons that Jin-Ho had reserved. Jin-Woo sold those dungeons to director Sang-min. While he kind of tricked Sang-min, in return, Sang-min managed to gain Jin-Woo's trust and was able to maintain contact with him, which was very valuable. Jin-Woo went on his job change mission and entered the dungeon. There he came across an empty throne, guarded by a knight. The story of the empty throne is explained much later in the manhwa. Anyway, in this battle, Jin-Woo almost lost, but in the end, he managed to win. However, that wasn't the end, as a notification appeared and told Jin-Woo he had to fight for survival and gather enough points. Eventually, Jin-Woo succeeded in completing the mission. But there are a few important things to note. First, after defeating Igris, Jin-Woo gained the skill to move objects from a distance. Second, after completing his job change mission, Jin-Woo's job became necromancer, and that's when he turned into the Shadow King. This means he can raise those he defeats as his army. So he was able to bring Igris back to life, and from now on, Jin-Woo won't be alone. The stronger he gets, the more powerful his army becomes. However, another crucial point is that 3 years before the Kartnan Temple incident, a gate appeared on Jeju Island and they couldn't close it. After 7 days, the gate opened and magical creatures were released. A lot of hunters were killed in several missions on the island. Then, a few years later, in a mission with several S-rank hunters, they were supposed to check the status of the island. But as they got closer, they discovered that the magical creatures on the island, which looked like giant ants, were evolving. One of them even grew wings. This means these creatures could soon leave the island, and that's extremely dangerous. So now, one question. Everyone with magical power is considered a hunter, right? Well, not necessarily. A lot of people might have magical power, and some of them might even have high levels, but they never choose to become a hunter. As we've seen, a hunter needs to have a permit, and they only get the permit when they participate in dungeon explorations. What about the eternal sleep that Jin-Woo's mother went through? After the gates appeared and magic was discovered, some people developed a condition that caused them to lose their awareness, their bodies to deteriorate, and their energy to drain. In the manhwa, it gets explained later that people who can't handle too much mana fall into an eternal sleep. So if someone with a lot of mana tries to connect with them, that happens. And later, we find out that Jin-Woo's father was also rank S. So the only way to keep people alive in eternal sleep is by giving them energy through magical crystals. But it's really expensive, and there's no cure for eternal sleep. Until Jin-Woo finds a solution, the elixir of life. But he only has the blueprint for it, and to make it, he needs to enter the Devil's Castle. I tried to give a quick summary of everything up to now. I've read the entire manhwa myself, and I can say that Season 2 is going to be amazing. The soldiers Jin-Woo is going to summon for himself are super cool. If you support it, I'll do a review of the second season episodes. Thanks for sticking with us till now. See you in the next video.